So I will share my slide if that's okay, right?
Yes, sir, sure. Sir, there is a share button beside the leave option.
Yeah, it's just that it's not sharing the window. Uh,
Select the screen option. Yes, sir, it is coming now.
uh, is it my window is visible to you
Yes, sir, it is visible.
now?
Yes, your screen is visible, but the PPT is not visible.
Oh, the PPT is not visible. Okay. Yes, now is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Right. So I have like given the gist of my topic, which is entrepreneurship in microbial diagnostics. So I am Shuvojit, and thank you for introducing me. I have recently joined the Gynae Onco Trial Group, which is a AIMS CME incubator, and which is supported by ICMR, and which is basically which was basically the reason that I chose to talk on this, because government of India has different kind of incubators now, and that is based on uh, bio entrepreneurships, like anything which is coming out of biology, which can be marketed, is involved in this incubator, which has potential, of course. So I would just like to ask you here, what is the first thing which comes to you when you hear about entrepreneur in biosciences? Anything, that can be anything. There is no right answer about this. Sorry for my voice. My voice is broken. I've tried to gargle throughout the last 24 hours for this. So if I may get some answers, what is the first thing which comes to your mind when you hear about entrepreneur in biological sciences? Hello. I think the students are not yet listening. Anything which is coming to your mind, which is related to entrepreneur, or like which are new things that is coming to biosciences, or if you hear the word entrepreneur.
Sir, it is like developing a new commercial drugs or developing new therapies.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, that is quite right, actually. I was just expecting more answers in this, but okay. So
Okay,
the
we
first
have
thing.
some answers in the chat also, sir. Production
Okay, okay.
of medicines, production of food items,
Okay,
or
so
new
oh
preserved
yeah,
forms of food beverages.
yes, exactly. Very right. Yes, you're almost there. So, okay. So the first thing which comes to your mind is very precise in this, because generally I get answers which are haywire. So, but yes, production of medicines, production of food items, then production like new forms of foods and beverages, of course, which are related to biosciences, of course. Yeah. Okay. So I would the first thing that I would like to start with, because this is, I know this is like a seminar for biological sciences, but very importantly, entrepreneurship is very dependent on market. So, and the market overview in India is like this: that if we have a 8.2 billion market, like that was evaluated into 2023, the market size of diagnostics, biological sciences, and which is projected to be projected to grow 7.5% every year in India. Not always the projected figures are right, but then this is a very calculative projection. And what are the most important things right at this moment is, uh, because this market is growing, and what are the important drivers here is, the first thing is the growing antibiotic resistance. So the growing antibiotic resistance throughout the world, and even in India, like in developing countries, we are facing a much more antibiotic resistance than the developed world. But that is also the reason the market size is increasing. So the antibiotic resistance, which needs rapid diagnostics to avoid misuse. So this is very important factor. So the market size, that's why the market size is increasing. The After COVID-19, what the world has seen and what the world has understood, that we need to have a pandemic preparedness, and that involves high end diagnostics, because you can't have a preparedness for a pandemic or this kind of infectious disease without diagnostics, without a diagnosis and without a rapid diagnosis. So this is another driver for this, that the pandemic preparedness after post COVID-19, the market is increasing. Rise of new pathogen. In agriculture also, there are several reasons. Pollution is one of the reason. Actually, is that there is a huge number of pathogens which are new, and that needs to be detected. So that is another reason for the market size of the microbial diagnostics to grow. And lastly, and most importantly, is there's a shift towards personalized medicine, because the whole genome sequence has arrived. We understand genomics much better. We understand proteomics more. We have a complete proteome model almost now. So the intention of having a personalized medicine, and so because it becomes more targeted for the patient, especially it started from cancer biology actually, and then it's now rapidly in various other diseases also, be it TB, be it other diseases. So there's a shift towards personalized medicine, and then this shift also is like contributing to the fact of the growing market of microbial diagnostics. So these are the four things that are very important, which is driving the Indian market. And then what helps us in this is this high growth of um, like there's a high growth industry, and which has a room for new entries, so that students like you who come out from bachelor's or masters can start new things, and if you have new ideas in mind, that can be incubated further. And the industry the industry has room for new people every year actually. So that's why I started with the market overview here. Yes. So what are the current challenges in the diagnostic framework? So the current challenges is very simple. It includes long diagnostic timeframes, which we call it the cutout time. The cutout time is it's or a TAT. We call it turnaround time. So which means that whenever you are going for a testing, suppose you are going for a testing to test for um, say any kind of infection, be it TB, you say you're a TB PCR or something. So and then the total the when once you are giving the blood, or once you are taking the getting the swab sample, and after that that's going to the lab, and then there is a particular time which takes for the preparation, sample preparation, and then like the machine that we use here detects the infection, and then it goes back to the and then the report is generated, and it goes back to the patient. So this total time is called a stat, turnaround time. But the long distance, long diagnostic time frame is the main hurdle or the main challenge right now in the market, because this turnaround time is still, like for infectious disease, is still, if we have an average, it's still around almost 12 to 18 hours now. if you have an average throughout all the geographical locations. Limited point of care options. So what is a point of care? Point of care means, suppose a person in um, Bilaspur is having a problem, and then what are the diagnostic facilities available there? No, there is hardly any diagnostic facilities available there, which is high end. Suppose he has to do a RT-PCR. Even in like, say for example, if you go 40 kilometers from Kolkata, there will be hardly uh, RT-PCR options involved. There is no direct labs there which do RT-PCR. So uh, so point of care is something where uh, the care has been performed at that particular point. Okay, so it's even in like in 2025 in India, there is a very limited point of care options. High cost in low resource settings. Suppose you have to develop mm, so I has been we have been incubating a few incubatees in AIMS right at this moment. So so one of them has developed a VR system, so visual reality system uh, orthopedic for orthopedic handicap. So the problem is that when he's developing a system for say 50 people, the cost is very higher. So we still now in India, that is one of the biggest problem is that there's a huge cost involved for a low resource setting. Say for example, if you have to develop a particular tool in your university, so the cost that will be involved will be very high, because the total cost that from the which includes instrumentation, which includes marketing, which includes labor costs, it gets higher if it's a low resource setting. And the complexity of the testing procedures, because doctors or clinicians are prescribing a huge number of procedures at this present moment of time to rapidly diagnose various diseases, mainly infectious diseases or communicable diseases. But then we have testing systems which are very complex and which are overlapping. So we have, say for example, in TB there will be like 4 to 5 types of tests. So which one is the confirmatory? So it's a very complex thing. So the doctors will start from the very basic test and will go the most confirmatory test, say for example RT-PCR in this case. But still there are contradictions to that too. So there's a complexity of testing procedure. So these are the 4 challenges which are very much like uh, like diluting the Indian market. The what are the unmet needs that we need? Of course, we need rapid testings, we need decentralized testings, which I was talking about, point of care, so that moving labs to very far off locations where more labs can be developed in the rural sector, so that the testing becomes decentralized. Anti, Antimicrobial resistance, that we have faster susceptibility testing. There's one lab in southern India which has developed for Rivera. It's called Rivera Labs. So their basic driver for the market was like, so the basic motto or the basic idea to grow in the market was they were only looking at antimicrobial resistance in patients. So all the tests that they developed in the last 5 years is dependent on antimicrobial resistance. And another thing which has come up in recent last 2 3 years is AI integration. There is a huge need for AI integration, so that if the more probable or the more predictive response that we have from an AI would of course lead to a huge mm, huge level of support for microbial diagnostics. So there's a huge need for AI integration and accessibility. So the high cost of low resource settings that can be solved in last 2 things, like the AI integration and accessibility. So uh, the high cost gets down, and we have more low cost of functional assays, low cost smaller microbial assays, which can help low resource settings and can be developed in very in a point of care places. Feel free to ask me any questions which, if the I can't see the direct chat from here. So, Payal, I'll be very helpful if there is a question which is coming in the chat box. Please let me know. Okay. So what are the emerging applications which are coming up? So there are various emerging applications which are coming up at this present moment in India, which involves environmental monitoring, which involves food safety, which involves veterinary diagnostics. There is now a huge inflow of money or investment from both government and private sector in biodefense, which like various which is involved in various warfares. So biodefense is a new sector which India is investing. And then there's a precision agriculture, so that we can like identify newer pathogens in a very less time. And the importance of this is we have to include diagnostics with digital health platforms, which involves AI, of course, and we have to integrate with various electronic health records, which there are various electronic health records that the government is also developing, ICMR is also developing, and there are also private healthcare record holders. And then we need the opportunities are there is a huge opportunity for developing closed loop monitoring and treatment systems. So these are the areas like the emerging applications, and which leads to converging of opportunities for the new entrepreneur, where they can combine diagnostics with digital health, where they can integrate electronic health records, and they can develop a closed loop monitoring system. Okay, before I come to my next slide, the technology trends, like the technology which uh, like mostly which is stuck in southern part of India, though a few of it have come to eastern India, of course, but it's mostly stuck in southern part of India, is the latest trends involves NGS, CRISPR-Cas. I will come to the next slide in detail about this, microfluidics, AIML platforms, nanopore, which again is a part of NGS, and then biosensors. So I will describe this in my next slide. But this is the latest trends, and the more we can think of entrepreneurship, or we can develop assays or technologies which are related to these technology trends, this will be more useful to the market. So that's why I first showed what is the market overview at this present moment of time, and then I showed what are the needs of that particular market, and then I'm telling you about what are technology trends, that whatever instrument or whatever technology that you are developing, you have to follow also the technology trend with that, because until and unless you involve these technologies into your technology, the market is behaving like that they won't accept it as a entrepreneuring new entrepreneuring thing. So we have to be very intuitive or very intelligent in involving the latest technology trends. Okay, this is a very jumbled up lab, jumble up tab. So, so the molecular techniques which new entrepreneurs are mostly involving. The first thing is the CRISPR-Cas. Throughout the world, CRISPR-Cas is breaking down barriers in diagnostic market. So, and there are several systems which has been developed in recent year, which is say for example Sherlock or detector, which utilizes Cas13, Cas12 enzymes for sequence specific detection. And uh, like we have that was developed very recently while in I mean in COVID-19, but then it has now been taken up with in various diseases also. And it's CRISPR-Cas is very much but very much known for its high specificity, and that can be also adapted for multiplexing. The next thing which comes up and which is rapidly also in the Indian scenario is the NGS system. So NGS system, I can give you an example of metagenomic sequences which are being used in diagnostics now, which involves various detecting of pathogen DNA in blood, uh, which was otherwise very hard to diagnose. Like even like 3 years back, it was very hard to diagnose. Uh, and say for example, TB. But a TB through NGS is a very new technique which has been developed, and now it's in India also. Digital PCR, we all know after COVID-19 has come up, and it's also been used in the agriculture area also, agriculture microbiology also, for various identification. rapid and point of care techniques testings. uh, there is a use of, say for example, M chip is a the one of the most like example that I can give for MChip is the Gene Expert system. Gene Expert is a system developed by Kefit. Kefit is a huge biotechnological company from Sweden, which developed a Gene Expert, which can rapidly detect pathogens within, say for example, 30 minutes or 35 minutes. The whole system runs in 30-35 minutes, and that has we have it's very much used in point of care or places which is far off. So for us only, we use a Gene Expert system at Jalpaiguri district for tea garden workers to detect their HPV. So, and that has been used like almost every month. Like we get almost like 30 to 35 patients of HPV which were not detected previously. So the
Sir, your slide is coming a little hazy.
okay, actually, this slide is a bit what I can say, like it is a lot of writing in it. So I can send you the slide once I'm done.
Okay, okay. Sir, we have one question in the chat. Should we take it
Right.
now or at the end of the
Yes, yes.
session?
No, no, please, please.
Okay, so we have a question that how AI accumulate and help us in microbial diagnostics. Can I set up the business on monoclonal antibody market?
Of course, of course. So it's a very interesting question in this because AI algorithms are being used everywhere. Okay. Say, for example, for monoclonal antibody market, Uh, so what we are doing at this present moment of time, there is a incubating. It's in Chandigarh IPGMR. So what they're doing at the present moment for monoclonal antibody is that, so there are several monoclonal antibodies for various specific proteins, right? And they have developed a small AI algorithm. Of course, they use various chips and all, and they use various kind of machine learning and predictive analysis in this, and which can identify, suppose in a lab, that which monoclonal antibody you want, you that is suitable for your particular patient or your particular region or your particular lab, that can be developed from that particular algorithm. So that's a like very recent example. It's I came across them in just January 2025, um, where they were presenting on this. So this is a very recent it's a startup. So AI and machine learning has come up hugely in this, and you can do it very fast, and also you can do it in a, and it's also requires very low resource. That is another good advantage of using AI. But another point in it, this AI is still developing. So you really have to be like make sure that you run that particular AI or that particular like algorithm that you developed for monoclonal antibody or anything in a whole lot of samples first. Any more questions that you have there?
No, sir, that is all for now.
Okay, okay. Coming back to the slide, which has a lot of write-ups, but I will try and kind of just it down. So I already covered. Then there is a huge scope for antimicrobial resistant detection. For example, there is a recent test. It's a called phenotest or accelerate phenotest. It's APT, which can detect uh, phenotype in uh, 32 minutes, actually 32 to 38 minutes actually. So, and then there is CRISPR for AMR, which is again CRISPR-Cas13, which uses CRISPR-Cas13 only for rapid resistance profiling. So antimicrobial detection are being used for like newer technologies are coming up for to detect antimicrobial resistance. Then there is biosensors, and there are many nanomaterials which are being generated hugely in India, which are nanomaterial based sensors, which have various electrical or optical signals, which has also which So we are developing a small nanomaterial along with Jadavpur University, which can detect uh, the Parkinson's. So when you have Parkinson's, there are various factors or proteins in blood which can be detected. But in the present technology that we have, that is generally not detected. So we are developing a particular nanomaterial which has a photosensor and also other chemical phenotypes, which gives a reaction which when it gets to a protein, when it gets to a particular protein. So these are examples of biosensors or nanotechnology based sensors which can be used in microbial diagnostics also. Then there are various syndromic test panels like multiple PCR panels. PCR panels are something which are like the startups are coming like anything, because in the present system, so you have to do a lot of PCR for various targeted genes. So if you can, along with the AI, if you can develop PCR panels, which are, say, for example, only for 15 genes or 16 genes or 20 genes at most, it's very easily, that can be easily done in a RT-PCR. And so, and the most of the companies are coming up with PCR panels. That's why it's after COVID, post COVID, that this is helping. And then this is particularly helping in the intensive care unit, where a patient in ICU is coming and uh, they have a history of respiratory or gastrointestinal or bloodstream infection, and they can be tested for at least 20 to 30 pathogens at the same point of time. Biofire is one example of this. Biofire is a very interesting story of Biofire. So Biofire was cleared by FDA for when they were operating in Afghanistan for different, like the war that was going on. So that was developed for the point of care. So that was developed for those particular soldiers, be it US soldiers or Afghan citizens, not Afghan soldiers, uh, who had infections during the, like, um, during they have a like shell which has which has gone to their veins or something, and then there is an infection and which needs to be detected rapidly. So Biofire was developed as a multiplex PCR panel, and then it was like decommissioned from that particular area because they were not needing it, and then it came back to diagnostic industry. And now in India we have like more than I think 200 biofire units throughout India. Even in West Bengal we have 2 units of biofire. So, and it's very helpful for ICU patients, because when a ICU patient come, so there is a very it's an intense need for quick detection of pathogens, very quick detection that can be 15 minutes, 20 minutes like this. And Biofire, and there are other now panels which has come up, which helps us to detect that. And then we have to also ensure FDA approvals here, because any entrepreneurship are that you are going to do, uh, a very important point is the quality standard. It's a very important point is the license that you need to operate those. So FDA approval, commercialization of various stuff before commercialization of your particular unit or model is very important. And digital health integration is another thing which has come up in the this particular industry very recently, which helps say, like, which are trying to detect like this. They say, for example, you have an eye infection, and uh, that is in a remote part of the country, that you have an eye infection. And this was developed actually, it's a BioWings Health IO, which is developed like this. So it was again developed for places which were like for the soldiers which were in Siachen. So they would, what the DRD would to do is they would install an app in their phone, and regularly they would check the lower part of the eyelid uh, while the camera is on in your app. So, and they would send pictures of those to the central facility in ICM at Delhi, sorry, DRD Delhi. And then they would go through those, and there is a particular algorithm they have developed, and they could understand that whether they are having that kind of infection or not. So these kind of very small, like low resource startup helped us to detect an infection through through a like smartphone, which I think most of us have or most of us can use. So that is the integration of smartphone and various kind of entrepreneurship, especially related to microbial diagnostics, is also something is which has come up in recent years. Coming back to the next two slides will be of because anything that you develop has to go through a model, because you if you don't have a particular strategy for the market, so your model won't work however innovative it can be. There are various innovative models which uh, failed in the market because they didn't have proper business model. You can be that can be not for profit also, that can be like very sustainable effort also, but that has to go through a particular strategy. So whenever we decide for a strategy, the first thing that you gonna do is, say for example, you develop a sanitary pad. I like I knew that you guys develop a sanitary pad, and the first thing that is important there, what is the particular product that you are going to the market with? So first thing is for the product, what are the testing instruments which are required in this? What are the consumable test kits which are what are the consumables in this particular test kit that you will need, and what software you will need as a service or a side step to the service that the for the product that you are going with to the market. Then there are various kind of models that we the one is product based, then is service based models. Say for example, you are developing a algorithm here you have to have a centralized testing service. You have to have people who have data analysis and interpretation, and then you will also have to have a remote monitoring system, the one with hell the one which a startup developed for this CHN people for eyelid infection. So this is that was a service based model, so which has a centralized testing service at DRDO, and then they have a data analysis and interpretation system in DRDO itself. And but all the data which were monitored remotely, and they were coming from mostly CHN and those areas. And the business model should also include how you are going to get your money from. So that can be from equipment leasing with per test fees, like for particular tests that a soldier is doing, they can pay you the fees, or periodic test bundles for chronic conditions. Say for example, you have developed a multiplex PCR panel, and uh, and how do you get, so you won't have everyday patients, so you have to have a say monthly test bundle, so that you have monthly money coming to your service. And then there is a value creation, like what exactly your model, what exactly your innovation or the instrument that you have created or the technology that you have created um, adds the value, like what is the exact value addition that the particular model does. So that is also something which needs to be chalked down, and which involves cost reduction, improved outcomes versus targeted therapies, as in like, so you have to improve your outcome every month so that you can add value to your model. And the most important thing is the operational efficiency, so that the model which will be ultimately operated by laymen or healthcare providers are actually laymen in this area. That can be just a receptionist, that can be someone who is just a paramedical or a paravet, so or anyone from the farmer. So that they can operate your particular innovation. So your business model should be having this four particular thing. It has to be product based, it has to be service based, it has to be subscription based, or anything which you think that the money goes in a one time, or and it should add value. The funding strategies that we currently have in India are, so we have a lot of early stage fundings at this present moment. So there are both government and private grants. As I said, there are various incubation programs by ICMR, DST, DBT. DBT Birac is a huge funding incubator which has been funding quite a few incubators for the last, I think, 7 years now. And there are various private organizations which has come up, like there are various French organizations which have come up. There are various organizations from Netherlands which has come up for developing these kind of bio sensors or bio like which helps microbial diagnostics or which helps things which is related to biology. So we have a lot of early stage funding at this present moment, which should be good enough to start with. Then there are investors. Of course, for investors, you have to go to the market, you have to screen them, you have to apply for those angel investors, what you call. Angel investors are one. So, for example, um, if you have to apply for angel investors, and angel investors are generally the one who will solely fund your entire project. So that is something very well, I mean, interesting and also very good, that the whole project gets covered with those angel investors. But then there are also seed stage venture capitals by various private funds, and even ministries have started giving various small seed stage, like agriculture ministry is inviting applications for seed stage venture capital. And finally, the early stage funding can also come from strategic partnership with various companies and institutions, so that the company would take, say, for example, if you are developing a monoclonal antibody. I will give you that example only. We are developing a monoclonal antibody algorithm. So you can partner with various software companies. Here, in that case, they were in Chandigarh. They were partnering with Capgemini. So, and the most of the cost or the resources comes from the company. And of course, company will have a property IP rights with them also. It will be shared between the company and the individual. But the growth stage funding is still limited in India. The early stage funding is pretty good, like it's good to start with, but the growth stage funding or the intermediate funding for this kind of market applications are less in India, because it requires a lot of venture capital. It requires a lot of corporate investment, though they're still available. There are various public grants. ICMR also have various public grants now for this. Then there are various corporate investments, but still the growth funding, if we compare with other countries, the growth funding or the sustainable funding is less in India. But the good thing is, if you can use properly early stage funding, and if you have a proper business model for the particular innovation that you have raised, then you can get the money back from the market. So that, suppose a service that you have developed or innovation you have developed, then that innovation can help you get money from the.
So you're not audible. Shuvojit sir, can you hear me? Participants, I think there is some technical issues. So please hold on. He is joining again. Shuvojit sir, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So sorry, it was locked out somehow. Uh, so can you tell me from which slide I actually got locked out?
Slide number I have not noticed.
The
Can
funding
you share?
strategy.
Yes, yes, that one.
Okay, I will just share. So this was the slide, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I was discussing was actually that how you do, like what are the funding strategies that can be used in India. So which includes early stage funding. We have several government and private grants now for like various startups, and which is from ICMR, DST, CSIR, also private grants which are from various companies, mainly the multinational companies. Then we have angel investors with healthcare focus. Angel investors is one which will who will help you develop the product uh, directly, and they like they are generally investors who would develop it solely. Say for example 10 years, 15 years, like this they will invest like this. And we have seed stage venture capital. Seed stage venture capitals are from various companies. Seed stage venture capital are also can be from different cooperatives. And then there are strategic partnerships with established companies. I was giving an example of Capgemini, who has helped developed a monoclonal antibody algorithm with Chandigarh uh, hospital. So where the partnership actually covers the costs of your early stage investment. So early stage funding are quite available in India. Problem is in India, the growth funding. The growth funding are still lesser when you compare to various other countries. And but the important thing is there that if you can use properly the early stage funding, if you can use the properly the business model, and if you can use proper understand the market, then the best use of early stage funding will help you to grow, or the best use of early stage funding will already help you get return or like revenues. That can be in the form of subscription, that can be in the form of direct money, or in the form of direct client services. Then there are also growth funding options. There are venture capital investments for growth funding options. There are various corporate investment which are strategic. That suppose a corporate would come in between your once your early stages are over. Say example, you have run your like so there is a TLR. It's a called as TLR level. It's technology readiness level, which comes from 1 to 10. And suppose you are in TLR, technology readiness level 3. So 3 is where you have developed a proof of concept. So where you are ready with the product, but you have not developed it as a prototype. So they would come in that particular point of time, and they would help you grow that funding. But at the same time, they will take from you is the IP rights. So their investment will be based on that how much can you give back the IP rights, so that it will be solely theirs or co-shared with you. Then there are various license agreements, which also helps in licensing agreements, which also helps in growth funding. Because if say for example you have a cap accreditation in your particular service that you have developed, then it's easier for any kind of government or private funds to get. And then there are various public grants from ICMR, from DST, and CSIR, which also helps in growth funding. The next and the final thing for the entrepreneurs is, you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That once you develop the product, the first thing that you have to do is, or once you are thinking of developing a product, the first thing you have to do is identify the specific need for a clinic, or what is the basic need for that clinic that you are developing a product for, or the basic need for the patient, or the basic need of that particular geographical location that you are developing a product in. So you have to identify these things, then validate your technology. uh, so once you have developed a product, you have to validate that particular technology, and then develop a minimal viable product, like, so that the cost is minimal at the point of your when you are starting up, your cost should be minimal. And then engage with potential early customers, like, say, few hospitals that will be using your multiplex PCR panel that you have developed. So you have to talk to few labs, or you have to talk to few hospitals, maybe one hospital that will be using your first panel. So that is very important, and that particular feedback is also very important. And then map your pathway. Map your pathway, as in like growth pathway, how you, or do you, that's your particular business model that you'll be following. And then another important thing is, like, one is the immediate actions that you have to do, and another is the building, is that how you would, your particular product will be successful in the market. So you have to assemble a cross-functional team. Cross-functional team means a team which can perform in various ways and which have a interdisciplinary participation. That, so that you have a team from AI or software, you have people from marketing, you have team for core biology, you have team from people who understand biology and the clinics. Like this, you have doctors in your team. And then you have to implement a strong implementation strategy that is again dependent on your business model. And then have a quality management system, uh, because anything, any product that you are building, or that you are any innovation that you are doing, has to go through a quality management system, because unless and until it passes the quality management, or it adheres the quality regulations, that won't be accepted as market ready. So that is again something very important. And develop a robust clinical development plan, because clinical development plan is when your product is failing. Suppose your product is failing in various things, so you have to create certain plan which are very robust, which takes feedbacks from your early customers, and then develop a clinical development plan which will be introduced in the clinic, so that when you are coming from the clinic to the market, it's seamless. And the most important thing in any business or any kind of entrepreneur is building on networks, so that you have a particular ecosystem based on your healthcare, so that your product goes to the market seamlessly, so that your product goes to your customers seamlessly, and you still have proper funding for your growth. So this was it from me. So let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. We have one question.
Right.
That is, uh, what are the qualities that a person needs to be a bio entrepreneur? What is your perspective actually? Someone is asking, what is your perspective on what qualities needed to be a person in a bio entrepreneur, to be a bio entrepreneur, basically?
So, qualities, for qualities, I don't think, um, like, the basic need is they understand biology. And if you if you ask me that for a band, like, if you to understand your biology, you will obviously need your masters. But though I have seen students who have done even in bachelor's, then they have come up with various interesting innovations which are like pretty good for the market. So the most important thing I would always suggest is, when they do a particular innovation, they understand the biology behind it. So that is most important.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other questions from the audience participants? So I think there are no other questions. Thank you, sir. You have discussed a very important perspective of biology and how we can, uh, proceed independently in this
Right.
field. So, and it was a very interactive session also. So, we are really grateful that in spite of your health conditions, you have still come here today to give this lecture. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, participants, the next session we have is from 2 p.m., which will be given by Dr. Arup Kumar Mitro. The details will be shared in the chat. Okay, thank you. Okay, Tito, I think sir has left. Okay, so in case you want any discussion, you can contact him through mail. Okay, so thank you, everyone. We will join at 2 p.m. again.